Wow, so Donald Trump is giving White House press access to podcasters and YouTubers, and he's doing this ahead of mainstream media for his second term, according to this article. That's good news, and the reason why this is good news for me, not because I would ever be considered or be on the list to be a White House correspondent, although, if they offer it to me, I 100% will. It's good news because, I just read recently where Caitlin Collins of CNN is being made their White House correspondent. And when I saw that, I had a visceral reaction. I may have screamed no. If you guys remember, Caitlin Collins is the one that had that town hall with Donald Trump on CNN where she incessantly interrupted him over and over and over. She probably had some sort of earpiece in her ear where someone was feeding her questions to try to trip up Donald Trump. But, I really hope, above every other White House correspondent, I would absolutely abhor to see Caitlin Collins asking questions to Carrie-Ann Levette or Donald Trump. So hopefully he crosses her off the list. But let's take a look at this. President-elect Donald Trump is looking to shake up the Brady press briefing room by pushing out hostile legacy media outlets and opening the doors for non-traditional media like podcasts and internet-based news outlets. So who would they allow in the press briefing room? I'm assuming that they would probably allow personalities possibly from the Daily Wire. They might give Joe Rogan some sort of pass, although he does a media-like podcast, but it's a little different. It's not specifically based on news and politics. He gets into a lot of other stuff. He gets into sports, but I could see him getting some sort of pass. Who else? I really can't think of anybody else. Maybe someone like Tim Pool possibly would have some sort of press pass. Let me know down below different podcasts that you think would be put on the list. But this all came about from Donald Trump Jr., who was speaking to Michael Knowles. This is why immediately it came to mind that they would probably let the Daily Wire in the press briefing room, because they almost exclusively talk about politics and, current events and whatnot. But Donald Trump was asked, or not Donald Trump, but Don Jr. was asked if National Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt is looking at the new press briefing room chart, and if maybe it's time to reorder the chart and maybe take away some people's seats. And let's take a look at this. I have this actual exchange here pulled up. This is what Don Jr. said to Michael Knowles when he was asked about the press. Listen.
But I wonder now, as your father is assembling his team, as maybe Caroline Levitt is looking at the new press briefing room chart, maybe it's time to reorder that chart and maybe take away some people's seats.
So we're going to break some news here, because I literally had this conversation. I was flying back. I was on the plane, I guess, with my father. I think it was coming back from the SpaceX launch with Elon last week. And I was sitting there, and we were talking about like the podcast world and some of our friends and Rogan and guys like you and, me to a lesser extent. I wouldn't be able to get a seat. That would be nepotism or whatever the hell. I'd be indicted again. I'd have to do more congressional testimony, so I'll pass. But we actually had this conversation about, like, given how the media has behaved. I mean, you brought up the New York Times. You saw the fact check of Bobby Kennedy talking about the different ingredients in Fruit Loops. And it was like, no, it's exactly the same as Canada, except we use yellow dye number 5 here instead of like orange, like carrots. And we use purple dye number 2,376 instead of blueberry extract. And I'm like, that's your fact check? Like, it's the same, but for these like really toxic chemicals that are banned in, dozens of countries. Like, I don't get it. But we had the conversation about opening up the press room to a lot of these independent journalists. Like, why should, if the New York Times has lied, they've been adverse to everything, they're functioning as the marketing arm of the Democrat Party, like, why not open it up to people who have larger viewerships, stronger followings, Like, it's not like the New York, I mean, how much money are they losing a year? The Washington Post, lost 70 to 45 to $70 million. Doesn't seem like they're a great success. So just because they've been there longer, it's like the way Congress functions. Like, you get a committee, not because you know anything about banking, but because you've been there longer. And it's like,
right.
Doesn't seem like a great way to do things. So we've had that conversation. Like, that's a great idea, Don. I was like, I think we should do this. And so that may be in the works. Let's see. That's going to blow up some heads. So, we'll see.
And I know what the left is going to say. It's going to be just like clockwork. They are going to say that they are being censored by Donald Trump's administration and that Donald Trump is a fascist. And they're going to say, see, we told everybody, we told you that Donald Trump is a fascist. And it's like CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, you guys with your waning viewership and total propaganda and lies, you are so entitled to think that you could just get into the White House press briefing room before some of these podcasters who not only have a larger reach, but are more accurate and really have deeper thoughts on what's going on in the world than you do. You are simply a corporate or a political party mouthpiece. That's what you are. You are the mouthpiece, the propaganda arm of the left. So the sense of entitlement, I guarantee you, is going to come out. But I think that this is very exciting because I would love to see a Joe Rogan in the press briefing room. That would just be absolutely incredible. I mean, the Daily Wire, take it or leave it. I think it'd be funny to have Michael Knowles in there. Who would you want to see in the White House press briefing room? Who would you want to see? I'm trying to think of another one. Yes, Tim Pool. I think he would be good. But let me know what you think about all this down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.